deep in the rainforest, where the air hangs heavy with moisture and the ground crawls with life, a strange drama unfolds, one that seems ripped from a horror movie. An ant, once an obedient worker in its colony, suddenly veers off course. It stumbles, climbs a plant it would normally ignore, and then clamps its jaws tight around a leaf vein. There it stays, motionless, as if possessed. Within days, a fungus erupts from its head, releasing spores that rain down on the forest floor, ready to claim the next victim. This is no fiction. It is the terrifying reality of the zombie ant fungus. Known as Ophiocordyceps, this parasite is one of nature's most sinister mind controllers. Unlike predators that hunt with teeth and claws, this fungus invades from within, hijacking the nervous system of its host and rewriting its behavior. The result is an insect that no longer serves its colony, but instead becomes a puppet for the parasite's life cycle. Every step, every movement, even the final death pose of the ant is choreographed by the fungus to maximize its survival. What makes this phenomenon even more chilling is how precise the manipulation is. The fungus doesn't just kill its host, it guides it to the perfect height, temperature, and humidity for fungal growth, ensuring its spores spread as widely as possible. It is mind control at the microscopic level, and it has haunted scientists and storytellers alike. So how does a simple fungus turn a living creature into a zombie slave? And what does this reveal about the hidden battles waged in the natural world? Today, we unravel the science behind zombie ants, the real horror story playing out in the undergrowth. The story of zombie ants begins with the rainforest, a place of endless life and endless struggle. In this environment, ants dominate the forest floor, forming super colonies that seem nearly unstoppable. But hidden among the leaves and soil lurks a force they cannot resist. The killer fungus, known as Ophiocordyceps unilateralis, does not fight ants head-on. Instead, it launches a silent invasion, starting with microscopic spores that drift through the air until they land on an unsuspecting insect. One single spore is enough to seal the fate of its victim. Once attached, the spore germinates and pierces through the ant's exoskeleton with needle-like filaments. These fungal threads begin to spread inside the ant's body, siphoning nutrients and releasing chemicals that slowly alter its behavior. From the outside, nothing seems wrong, at least not yet. Days pass, and the ant begins to act strangely. It wanders away from its colony, ignoring chemical signals that once guided its every step. To its nestmates, it is already lost. To the fungus, however, it is becoming a perfect vessel. The parasite's control grows stronger as the infection spreads through muscle fibers and possibly even into the brain. Scientists still debate exactly how the fungus hijacks behavior, but what is clear is that the ant's free will is gone. It now moves according to the parasite's hidden agenda. At a precise moment, the infected ant climbs vegetation it would normally avoid. It finds a leaf or stem and bites down with an iron grip, locking its jaws in what is called a death grip. This is the fungus's final command, the last act of a life no longer its own. The death grip is not random. The ant clamps onto a spot with just the right amount of light, humidity, and temperature for fungal growth. Every detail has been selected by millions of years of evolutionary fine-tuning, ensuring the fungus can thrive. Once the ant is locked in place, its body stiffens. The muscles seize up, preventing release even after death. In this suspended pose, the host becomes a platform, a living sacrifice transformed into a fungal nursery. Soon, pale threads burst outward from the ant's exoskeleton. These filaments creep across its body, binding it to the plant. The insect is no longer an individual, but a structure, a foundation for something far more alien. Then comes the most horrifying stage, the fruiting body. A dark stalk erupts from the ant's head, pointing downward toward the forest floor. This grotesque tower will produce thousands of new spores, each capable of repeating the cycle. As spores drift into the air, they fall like invisible rain onto the forest below. Some land harmlessly, but others strike new ants marching through the undergrowth. For the colony, it is an invisible war waged in silence, impossible to predict or prevent. To the human eye, this sequence is chilling. A once busy worker ant, reduced to a lifeless husk, now spreads death to its own kind. For the fungus, however, it is a masterpiece of precision, a biological strategy perfected over eons. Scientists have long puzzled over how the fungus exerts such precise control. Early theories suggested it might attack the brain directly, hijacking the insect's command center. But closer inspection revealed a surprising truth. The fungus largely avoids the brain itself. Instead, it spreads through the ant's body, weaving between muscle fibers and secreting chemicals that alter behavior. The brain remains intact, but the commands driving movement are no longer the ant's own. Researchers using advanced imaging have seen fungal cells clustered around nerves and muscles, as if pulling invisible strings. The ant's body becomes a puppet stage, with the fungus directing every twitch and step. This discovery reshaped our understanding of parasitism. The fungus doesn't destroy its host immediately. It preserves the ant's ability to walk, climb, and grip until those abilities are no longer useful, and then it drains the life away. Even the timing of death is precise. The fungus ensures the ant bites down at solar noon, when conditions for spore growth are ideal. Such coordination suggests a biological clock ticking inside the host, now set to the rhythm of the parasite. For the ant colony, this manipulation is devastating. Healthy workers may unknowingly carry spores back to their nest, spreading infection. Yet no collective defense seems to exist. Each ant remains vulnerable to becoming the next victim. Zombie fungi are not limited to a single forest or continent. Species of Ophiocordyceps have been found across Asia, Africa, and South America, each adapted to the ants in their region. This diversity shows how powerful and ancient the relationship is. In tropical jungles, the sight of graveyards is common. Clusters of dead ants clamped to leaves the same height above ground. Each colony of fungi creates its own cemetery, a chilling reminder of the parasite's efficiency. Scientists have documented more than 24 species of these fungi, each specializing in one type of ant. The match is so specific that a fungus attacking one species will often fail to infect another. Evolution has fine-tuned the parasite's grip over millions of years. This specialization means entire ecosystems are shaped by the dance of host and parasite. Ant populations are kept in check, preventing overgrowth that might otherwise disrupt the balance of the forest floor. In this sense, even horror plays a role in harmony. But the cost is steep for the ants themselves. Colonies can be devastated if infections spread unchecked. Some ant species have even evolved to recognize sick nestmates, dragging them far away from the colony to die alone, a desperate attempt at protection. Yet despite these defenses, the fungus persists. Its spores continue to rain down, seeking the next unsuspecting host. No matter how advanced the ant colony becomes, the fungus remains one step ahead, ensuring its survival through manipulation. The zombie ant fungus is not alone in mastering control. Nature is filled with parasites that bend the wills of their hosts in eerie ways. Each example adds another layer to the unsettling truth. Free will, in the animal kingdom, is often an illusion. Parasitic wasps, for example, lay their eggs inside caterpillars. The larvae hatch and feed from within, while chemicals force the caterpillar to guard the young wasps, protecting the very creatures that will eventually kill it. Hairworms infect crickets and grasshoppers, growing long and coiled within their bodies. At maturity, the worms release chemicals that compel their hosts to leap into water, where the worms burst free to continue their life cycle, drowning the insect in the process. Viruses can be just as manipulative. Rabies, for instance, invades the nervous system of mammals, driving them into fits of aggression and causing them to bite. This behavior spreads the virus to new hosts, turning fury into a weapon of infection. What makes the zombie ant fungus especially remarkable is the precision of its control. While other parasites rely on brute force or general behavior changes, Ophiocordyceps directs its hosts like a skilled puppeteer, turning complex instincts into tools of survival. These parallels reveal a chilling pattern. In evolution, the ability to manipulate behavior can be just as powerful as teeth or claws. Control of the mind can decide the fate of species just as surely as physical strength. The story of zombie ants resonates far beyond biology. For humans, the very idea of a mind being hijacked touches on deep fears: loss of control, identity erased, freedom stolen by an invisible force. It's no wonder the fungus is often compared to the myths of the undead. Popular culture has embraced this connection. Documentaries frame the ants as real-life zombies, while science fiction and horror films borrow inspiration from parasitic fungi to craft apocalyptic scenarios. The idea of an infection spreading through entire populations strikes a chord with our imagination. But in science, the zombie label is more than sensational. It highlights how behavior, the most personal trait of an organism, can be shaped by forces outside of itself. The ant does not want to climb, bite, and die, yet it does under the silent command of another species. This paradox fascinates researchers. By studying the chemicals used by fungi to alter behavior, scientists hope to uncover clues about neurobiology itself. The zombie ant becomes a doorway to understanding how brains, muscles, and signals interact. At the same time, the metaphor of zombification makes the story accessible. When people hear zombie fungus, they instantly visualize what's at stake, blending science with narrative in a way that sparks curiosity and fear in equal measure. Modern science has brought powerful tools to the study of zombie ants. Using 3D imaging and high-resolution microscopy, researchers can trace the spread of fungal cells through the ant's body with extraordinary detail. What they find is astonishing. Instead of flooding the brain, the fungus forms a network around muscles and nerves, almost like a second nervous system. This fungal web sends signals that override the ant's natural impulses, guiding its body like a marionette. Genetic studies reveal another layer of complexity. The fungus produces a cocktail of chemicals, neuroactive compounds, enzymes, and toxins that subtly alter the ant's physiology. Some of these compounds may even mimic the ant's own neurotransmitters, blurring the line between self and invader. By sequencing the fungal genome, scientists have identified hundreds of unique genes that may be responsible for behavioral manipulation. Many of these genes have no counterpart in other organisms, suggesting that Ophiocordyceps has evolved a molecular arsenal found nowhere else on Earth. These discoveries hint at future applications. If we can understand how the fungus hijacks behavior so precisely, we might uncover new medicines or tools for neuroscience. Some researchers even suggest that studying such parasites could inspire novel approaches to treating neurological disorders. Yet the same insights remind us of danger. If a fungus can control the mind of an insect so perfectly, what does that say about the vulnerabilities of other species, including us? It is a sobering question that lingers behind every scientific breakthrough. The life cycle of the zombie ant fungus begins invisibly. Tiny spores drift through the forest, landing silently on the exoskeleton of a passing ant. To the insect, nothing seems amiss, until the spores germinate and pierce through the armor. Once inside, the fungus spreads quietly. It doesn't kill right away. Instead, it grows slowly, drawing nutrients while keeping the host alive. Days or weeks may pass as the ant continues its duties, unaware that its body has been invaded. Then comes the turning point. The fungus releases chemicals that alter behavior, compelling the ant to abandon the safety of the colony. It wanders, disoriented, drawn upward to a leaf or twig in the understory of the forest. At precisely the right moment, the ant clamps its jaws in the infamous death grip. The muscles lock, and the host can no longer release its hold. Its fate is sealed. The fungus soon consumes the ant from within, leaving only an empty shell. From that shell, a stalk erupts, growing outward like a sinister banner. At its tip, a capsule swells, filled with thousands of new spores. When the time is right, the capsule bursts, showering the forest floor below with the next generation of fungal invaders. The cycle begins anew. Each spore seeks another ant, another body to command, another life to end. For millions of years, this pattern has repeated, turning the rainforest into a vast stage for one of nature's most chilling dramas. For the rainforest, zombie fungi are more than horror. They are regulators. By thinning ant populations, they prevent any one species from overwhelming the ecosystem. In this way, the fungus acts as an invisible hand, keeping balance on the forest floor. Ants are among the most dominant insects on Earth, building vast colonies that shape soils, recycle nutrients, and even influence plant growth. Without natural checks, their numbers could explode. The fungus ensures that equilibrium remains. This delicate relationship has been evolving for millions of years. Fossil evidence suggests that parasitic fungi like Ophiocordyceps have existed since at least the time of the early rainforests. Both fungus and ant have adapted to each other in a relentless evolutionary arms race. Ants develop new behaviors, such as removing sick individuals from the nest, while fungi refine their ability to infiltrate and manipulate. Each adaptation sparks a counter-adaptation, driving both sides toward greater sophistication. Such interactions reveal the creative force of evolution. Survival is not always about strength or size. Sometimes it depends on strategy, stealth, and timing. In the battle between ant and fungus, ingenuity matters more than brute force. Even today, in forests across the world, this contest continues. Every spore released is a challenge thrown at the ants. Every ant defense is a test for the fungus. The war has no end, only shifting victories written into the survival of each generation. The saga of the zombie ant fungus is more than a tale of horror in miniature. It is a reminder that survival often depends on forces we cannot see, and that even the smallest organisms can reshape the lives of giants around them. For the ants, it is tragedy. For the fungus, it is triumph. For us, it is a lesson in how fragile control really is. Minds, bodies, and ecosystems are never truly independent. They are always subject to the influence of others. The story also challenges how we see evolution. Nature doesn't only reward the strongest or the fastest. Sometimes, survival comes to those who master patience, stealth, and manipulation. The zombie ant fungus embodies this truth perfectly. And yet, within the eerie dance of spore and host, there is beauty. It shows us the creativity of life, the endless experiments of adaptation, and the delicate balance that sustains the rainforest. If a fungus can control an insect's destiny so completely, what other mysteries still hide in the shadows of the natural world? What stories of adaptation and survival remain untold, waiting in the soil, the water, or the trees? These are the questions that keep scientists searching and storytellers sharing. The zombie ant fungus is not just a curiosity. It is a doorway into deeper understanding of the world we share. If this story fascinated you, don't let it end here. Like this video, share it with others who love the hidden dramas of nature, and subscribe to the channel for more journeys into the strange instincts of animals. Together, we'll keep uncovering the bizarre, the mysterious, and the unforgettable.